Hi, my name is Wendy Hayden and I am with Natural Constipation Solutions, and today we're going to talk about using Calm Magnesium and Omniblue Ocean Minerals for constipation relief, how to choose which one to use, how to figure out your dosing, and how to transition from one to the other. So generally, my first recommendation when you are in bad shape and you need to have a bowel movement quickly is to use Natural Calm Magnesium. And the reason why is this is a magnesium citrate, and magnesium citrates are not well absorbed. They were used for colonoscopy prep for decades before Miralax was invented, and I do not recommend Miralax in any situation. My son was put on it by a pediatric gastro and had terrible side effects from it. Natural Calm Magnesium is a magnesium citrate. So it's magnesium bound to citric acid, and it works basically because it's not well absorbed. It works really well for constipation, because what's going to happen is you take the magnesium and your body gets flooded with all the extra and it poops out what it can't use, and it can't use a lot of it because it just does not absorb well. So this is also good because it doesn't have any junk ingredients in it. A lot of like the little soda bottles of magnesium citrate that they use for bowel prep, they're better than Miralax, but they still some of them do have polyethylene glycol in it, which is the only ingredient in Miralax. So I would avoid those completely. And it can be one brand. It can have it in certain flavors and not in others. And they almost always have artificial sweeteners, saccharin or other things. And most artificial sweeteners are carcinogens, so I avoid those for my family. But this has stevia, is what it's sweetened with. So the reason that I like it, it doesn't have anything in it that I find offensive, and it works really well. So you want to dose to bowel tolerance, and I have a video that I will link about how to figure out what your bowel tolerance is. And it doesn't matter if you're using magnesium, if you're using the citrate, or you're using Omniblue, or you're using vitamin C or coconut oil. You know, the whole goal of it is to get to bowel tolerance. So Natural Calm is great for kids, especially kids who have sensory issues or are really picky, because it generally it doesn't taste bad. You can get unflavored as well. This is the lemon flavor. That was the one that I was getting for my son, but they all kind of have a lemony taste to it because of the citric acid. So they're tart. Every one of them is a little bit tart. And the way you mix it up, they also have, there's cherry flavor if your child likes cherry. There's I think a raspberry lemonade. So there's lots of different flavors. And what you do with this is it has to be activated. So when you mix up, for example, the serving size is half a teaspoon increasing up to 2 teaspoons. You may need more to do a clean out. But what you want to do is you have to put hot to almost boiling water, and you're going to see that the powder of this is going to bubble up. And that means that you've activated the Natural Calm. It's not going to work as well if you don't do that. And then once you've got it activated, you can add ice to it. You can dilute it into a drink. You can put it in orange juice or lemonade or limeade, or you can make ice pops with it. You can freeze it in ice cubes and blend them and make a slushie. So there's lots of ways to be able to get this into your child, or if you're using it for yourself and you just don't like the flavor of it, those are some ways to be able to do that. Now, the downside to Natural Calm Magnesium is that it isn't absorbed well. So it's not a long-term solution. It's not going to build up your magnesium stores, so you're not going to get to a point where you need less of it. It's not safe for I wouldn't say it's not safe. It is not approved for use for children under 4. So if you're looking for infants, if you're looking for toddlers, if you're pregnant, if you're nursing, then this might not be the first choice to go to, which is why then for long term, you're going to want to transition to Omniblue Ocean Minerals. But this is a really good option. It's very helpful. the only time to worry if you have any kidney problems, or your child has kidney problems, then you want to definitely be cautious with magnesium, and work that out with your doctor. But because I'm not a doctor, I'm just a mom who has had a lot of experience with this stuff. But, you know, I really like Calm, and I think that it can be super effective, and it's great for kids that are picky. I know my son was super, super picky, and that's part of how I found that and had really good success with that. So Omniblue Ocean Minerals is a really good long-term option. So if you have chronic constipation from congenital megacolon, if you have chronic constipation because you're on painkillers or having chemotherapy or something where this is going to be a long-term problem, you can use Omniblue for constipation forever. And you can use Omniblue as a mineral supplement long-term, completely safe. Omniblue is harvested from a vent from the ocean floor near the Great Barrier Reef, so it is a very pure mineral supplement, and it's not just magnesium. It has magnesium, it's got chlorides, sodium, potassium, and sulfate, and so it's more of a balanced mineral. It is a pure magnesium as opposed to one like this that is bound with magnesium citrate to magnesium citrate. And you can use this in everything all the time. So why don't we just start off with the Omniblue? Well, it's got a really strong taste, and it can be hard in the initial stages to get enough in this, especially if you're dealing with a child or someone with sensory issues, to get enough to get to bowel tolerance. So what I generally recommend you do is you want to find a regimen, get your child or yourself going daily using this, and then slowly start adding drops of Omniblue to your water. You can add it to tea, hot tea. You can add it to soup. You can add it to anything that you cook. And while it doesn't have a lot of salt in it, it does have a salty, very strong salty taste. So you're going to want to dilute it a lot when you're adding it to things. But you can cook it. So if you're boiling, a stock, you could add this to your stock. And you're not going to hurt it. It's fine. So I use this daily with my family as a magnesium supplement, as a mineral supplement, and I just put drops of it in everybody's drink every time I make a drink, and nobody knows, nobody cares, and you get used to the taste. There might be like a small change of taste in the beginning, but over time you don't even notice the taste anymore, and you can work your way up with this. And then as you start to have loose stools, you're going to want to start backing off on how much Calm you give. And you're going to transition to the Omniblue. And then just if you get to a point where, you have an emergency and you aren't having a bowel movement and you can't get enough of this, you can always add this back in. But I wouldn't use this for years. This is something for a few months while you're working on figuring out what the root cause is of your constipation. Why are you constipated? Why is your child constipated in the first place? I have some videos, and I'll have a lot more that are coming. So subscribe to my channel and click the bell notification, and we're going to be working on what causes constipation, so that you can actually eliminate it full, long term, because doing something like this is great. It's much safer than a laxative, but it's still just a band-aid on the problem, and it's not solving the problem. Now, if magnesium deficiency is the root cause, over time you're not going to need this anymore, because you're going to increase your magnesium stores with this. But that's not usually the only root cause. Most people have something else that is a trigger that has caused constipation, and just the fact that we're low in magnesium just generally as a society just makes that worse. So that's kind of the gist of what you want to do with this, and why you want to have both of these supplements, and why you generally are going to want to transition from this to this long term. So Omniblue, like I said, it's safe for infants, it's safe for toddlers. So if you have a child that's young and you're not comfortable with magnesium citrate, this is a good option for that long term. And if you are formula feeding your infant, you can add this to the bottle If you're breastfeeding, you can drip some of it onto your nipple and the baby will latch and get the benefit of that through your milk. You can also supplement yourself to increase your magnesium, and that will come through in your milk that you're making. So this is a really good long-term supplement that works great. But because it is so strong flavored, it is hard sometimes to get enough of it to be able to reach bowel tolerance quickly, to be able to do things like clean outs and things. So those are kind of the pros and the cons of the two supplements that I recommend a lot for magnesium. But I think there's a place for both of them. That's why I have both of them in my cupboard. And while we rarely have to, use Calm anymore, it's always good to have it around for that kind of thing. If anybody is gone a couple days without going, then we can up this, but we can also add some of this to try to move things along. Both of them, you can mix them with smoothies. You can, like I said, you can mix with juice. This can go in coffee or anything that's stronger flavored, or if you have anything that would be salty, this is a great choice to add. Whereas this has a really strong citrusy taste, so you're even the unflavored is not completely no flavor. It just means that they haven't added any flavor to it, so it's still going to have a little citrusy taste to it. So I hope that helped you with figuring out which one that you want to try, and how to get there. And like I said, I will link at the end to the video on bowel tolerance, so that will teach you kind of how to figure out yourself what your dosing is, because I can't tell you your dosing, and even though doctors may say this is the dose to take, they're kind of guessing too, because it's if you're very magnesium deficient, it's going to take more. If you're very constipated, it's going to take more, and it's going to take some practice and upping different things and trying different things until you figure out what your personal bowel tolerance is. So I hope that's helpful. Like I said, subscribe, click the bell notifications, and you'll get notified when new videos are published. Thank you very much.